Hello and welcome to Hofsós, one of Iceland's oldest trading posts, a village that almost vanished before it was developed into a cultural attraction, so it would look a bit more interesting on TripAdvisor. But did it work for them? Let's find out. My name is Gylfi and I'm your brutally honest guide. And welcome to join me on a trip to discover yet another Icelandic village. As always, we start the journey on a map, but we are located by the mouth of Skagafjörður, a wide and deep fjord in a fertile agricultural region and the heart and soul of horse breeding in Iceland. Hofsós is not one of our mainstream tourist destinations, as it's not by the so-called Ring Road or Iceland's highway number 1. It's not even by the Skagafjörður highway, so it's easy to miss the Hofsós intersection. The town is, however, a necessary stopover when we drive the 900-kilometer-long Arctic coastway. And if you ask an Icelander what comes to mind when Hofsós is mentioned, the answer would most likely be the swimming pool. 2 women with a business background gave the residents of Hofsós the swimming pool in 2007. Well done, I must say. But what makes the pool so special is the location, of course, offering a fantastic view over the bay and the island Drangey. And the pool is often called the infinity pool. And when I look at the swimming pool culture in Iceland, which is extremely rich, it's quite interesting that there aren't that many swimming pools that are designed as viewing spots as well, which is a fantastic idea, like for Northern Light sightseeing, or the possibility to soak in the geothermal water to enjoy the show. Icelanders did, however, build another pool like this in Húsavík a few years later, so I hope that this is just the beginning of a new design era when it comes to pools. But let's move to history. Hofsós used to be a trading post for the Danish monopoly that ruled all business in Iceland for almost 200 years. So this village had every chance to grow into a large town, but it didn't, despite the good natural harbor and close-by fishing grounds. It's only 200 people that live here now, so we can't say it's a lively tourist town, but they are, however, trying to use the history as a foundation to build upon, and the oldest part of town has been improved a lot in the last decade. Like the old harbor, where we have the old log house, which dates back from the time of the trading monopoly, one of the oldest houses in the country, protected and owned by the National Museum of Iceland, that holds exhibitions connected to the history of Drangey there. And another old house there accommodates the so-called Icelandic Emigration Center, dedicated to the westward migration of the Icelandic people during the period of hardship after the Askja eruption in 1875. And I have to mention that old Askja seems to be waking up again, so I'm leaving links to videos about that huge and dangerous volcano. There are also several new buildings there, which fit very well into the old style of the town and accommodate various exhibitions. But the Emigration Center is perhaps the best known tourist attraction in town, since they work on the preservation of the cultural heritage shared by the people of Iceland and Americans and Canadians of Icelandic descent. But since we are into that, I have to mention that there is another such organization in Vopnafjörður, East Iceland, offering genealogical services as well. So I am leaving links to both of those centers for you who have roots to Iceland, because it's very easy nowadays to trace them. Hofsós is one of the villages that struggles a bit with the fact that the villages must have reached a certain size in order to be considered a desirable tourist destination for most travelers. But luckily, we don't all share the same values when it comes to that, and what you find here is simply something different, something a bit more relaxed and very Icelandic indeed. We are close by the Arctic Circle, and the so-called Arctic Coastway is a wonder of its own. And what I love the most about that route is the diversity in the landscape and the many different towns and villages on the way, each with its own character. But as for photography, This is a highly recommended destination on my behalf, especially for those of you who love the Icelandic horse. You won't have to drive for long to find them on the fields. And you have the option to go on a riding tour with the local guides. So I would say this is the best region in Iceland for the great many people out there who love the Icelandic horse breed. The center for the history of Icelandic horse is also nearby, or by the Hólar Cathedral, also a must-see place if you are into the history of Iceland. And for those of you who are into geology, this unique basalt column formation can be found just by town. But ancient stories say it's also a town of elves, but I can't confirm it actually from my own experience. I have tried all possible and impossible shutter speed settings on my Nikon to capture them, but no luck so far. When we move deeper into Skagafjörður, we find the town Sauðárkrókur with the largest population in the region, and I will cover that town in a separate video soon. But it's the shopping and service center for the region, but the tunnel projects have, however, made it easier now to travel to Akureyri, the capital of northern Iceland. And as you might notice, this is one of the places in Iceland that's really nice to visit during winter. But the shots I'm offering you today are almost all from a trip in late November 2021. Shot during a commercial project I had in Sauðárkrókur. It was going to be a day trip, but I was finding so many photo subjects all around. So I added an extra day to the trip to chase the light. Fly by the mountains on the Tröllaskagi Peninsula in order to capture some of the forces of nature. And the contrasts between seasons is one of the great things about Icelandic nature. They are so strong. To the east from Hofsós, we are only an hour away from Skagafjörður that I have covered in a separate video I'm linking to. And that's more of a place for those who prefer the wider selection of tourist activities. And there are in fact now 4 road tunnels in total on the Tröllaskagi Peninsula. So winter travel is not just easy. It's an adventure, a different way to discover Iceland, still undervalued in my opinion, even by the locals. But this is by far one of the best regions in Iceland for northern light photography for many reasons, like a great selection of backgrounds and little light pollution. As with many other small villages in Iceland, the economy is based on fishery and services for the farmers. And for many years, this town was known for a company that built exhaust systems, or a business you would expect to find in China. And they still operate a specialized metal workshop there. There is of course an elementary school in the village, and the local church was built in 1960. Pretty much the classical Icelandic country church. But we don't find any hotels in town. But there are at least 2 guest houses there and 3 restaurants during the tourist season, and of course a camping ground. So if you are going the Arctic coast way, I would consider this place. But it's often cheaper to stay in those small villages, and it's a great location to use as a central spot to do day tours in the region. It's also a good option if you want to stay away from the mainstream tourist industry and get closer to the roots of my nation's soul, because here you can find so many significant historical sites in a relatively small area. So to be brutally honest, there are type of tourists who would call this place as dull as you can find them here in Iceland. But then it's all about what we wish to see and experience. And Hofsós is indeed one of our lay-low places. A bit off, a bit forgotten, even by Icelanders, but it's always one of the good options you have when you visit my country. An option that won't leave you in a crowd of tourists, midst in the tourist version of Iceland. And it is small villages like this that make the Arctic coastway so adventurous. We want and we need to have people and services nearby us, of course. But it is also so easy to get away from other tourists. Find yourself a quiet spot to inhale the nature and history. And this is all I have to say about this place today. And please keep in mind that this is only one of my many videos already online covering Icelandic towns and villages from a local perspective. And please consider to click on the subscribe button to help my channel to grow, as my plan is to make it into one of the largest online video source about Iceland out there. So you can easily find inside information in order to plan your own perfect trip to my home country, Iceland.